The Box Seat, brought to you by our stable of sponsors: Woodland Stud, New Zealand Bloodstock Standardbred, Bracken Farms, Stonewall Stud, IRT, it's your horse and our passion, Australasian-wide Garrard's Horse and Hound, Rakiro Racing Stables, Lincoln Farms, the clubs Alexandra Park, Cambridge Raceway, Ashburton Trotting Club, Addington Raceway and Harness Racing New Zealand. Hi everyone, welcome in to the first show of season 21-22 and a big thank you to our stable of sponsors, including our new sponsors, Rakiro Racing, replacing Door Contracting, and of course Lincoln Farms. To John Street and the team there in Middleton, a big thank you to you. One thing that hasn't changed is Michael Guerin is with us and he's coming to us from his lounge. Hi Michael, great to have you part of the show once again. Looking forward to getting involved today.
Yeah, hi everybody, welcome back to Box Seat for the new season, which is still sort of part of the old season. Welcome to my house. This is where I've been doing lots of my work over the last sort of 6 weeks. Obviously, we're still in level 3 in Auckland, but yeah, we're hoping to get out the other side. And most importantly, after this very odd time for the entire country, most people are safe. And of course, Greg, harness racing's gone ahead. Vastly different lockdown from last year, where we lost a big chunk of the industry for a long period of time. We've been able to keep going, which is a lot of work from Harness Racing New Zealand and the clubs and the participants involved in doing the right thing. And it means the road to the Cup, Greg, has started. The question is, and this is the big question as we lead into the Box Seat this season, the road to the Cup with or without a crowd, really confusing time. Statement coming out from Addington just 2 days ago that they have now got a line in the sand when they need to make that decision. Greg, I think everybody watching this show is extremely hopeful come October the 20th. They hear Cup Day with a crowd is on.
Yeah, well, we'll have a comment from Darren Williams, the racing manager, operations racing manager there from Addington Raceway a little bit later on in the show, but you've talked about the road to the IRT New Zealand Cup, so I thought we'd go back, have a quick look at some of the performances that have led us to where we are now, leading into the Lamb and Hayward Canterbury Classic. This was Classy Brigade in the Morris Holmes Vase. He was very good, Michael, stepped straight to the lead and dominated. Henry Hubert was right there. DiCaprio was right there as well. And there's AG's White Sox finishing the race off nicely. But he's a remarkable horse, Classy Brigade. That was win number 20 in his career. He went over $500,000 and the old boy just keeps on trucking. 320, pretty stock standard for this time of the year. They step things up a wee bit in the Brighton Cup though, Michael, when DiCaprio gets through on the inside and gets his win.
Yeah, a bit more pressure in the second of these races. The first one, of course, being a typical early season race, slower time. About 6 or 7 seconds faster here, and DiCaprio was the horse who was the beneficiary of that. So as you can see, they all roll up the track a little bit. He sneaks through on the inside, beautiful drive, and that confirmed his place in the Cup, where he was pretty good last year. So 2 races down, and so far, you've needed to be on the marker pegs. Hannon Memorial at Oamaru was the next cab off the rank for the open class horses. Vastly different race early because Henry Hubert goes on to win the race, but after an early gallop, you're like, oh God, we're in trouble here. Rushed around the field, got the lead, and again the winner came from the marker pegs after finding a hard way to get there. Robbins Playboy from the deep south, really good in second. The unlucky horse Pembroke Playboy, he will keep. He heads to Addington on Friday night. Classy Brigade there, showing that maybe his early season advantage isn't going to hold up as the fields get deeper, stronger, and the other ones get fitter. That's the road to the Cup in New Zealand. Did one of the stops on the road to the Cup come at Kilmore last Friday night? His Amazing Dream, these days trained by Nathan Purdom, 3 wide the last 1,200 metres and holds off Mark Dan here. Very, very brave, probably not suited by the way the race panned out for her. You and I spoke to her on spoke to Nathan on Trot's Talk on Sunday, and he said, look, not really thinking the New Zealand Cup. We're not sure. Greg, I would put a big question mark and a big watch over her, because we know if she comes to the Cup, she just slots in as somewhere between second, third and fourth favourite. But Nathan wasn't keen. Wouldn't be surprised if she wins the Victoria Cup on October 9th, whether her North American-based owners now think hey, 600k is a lot of money, plus the free-for-all. Big watch, big question mark. In fact, Greg, the biggest question mark of the Cup, apart from the crowd, is whether the Auckland Cup winner will be there.
Yeah, exactly. So Amazing Dream, outstanding there, win 23 in her career. We'll have to take on King of Swing. Michael, I understand that he resumes at Menangle this week and then we'll head to the Vic Cup?
Yeah, he goes to Menangle for his typical mile race on Saturday night. Then the week after, they all meet up in the Victoria Cup, which has actually gone to Bendigo because of the restrictions in Melbourne. If Amazing Dream wins there, it's really hard not to come to the New Zealand Cup because she can race in the Queen of the Pacific or the Breeders' Challenge over there, or Breeders' Crown, but it doesn't really matter. Once you've won those big races, they are secondary. So, Greg, we do need to recognise the fact too that she's a wonderful horse who did great things over the winter. Winning the Blacks of Fake, winning the first ever Rising Sun, as did many of the New Zealand horses, American Dealer and Copy That, and even Krug, who went over to Queensland. So well done to all the New Zealand bred, trained, owned horses who did such great things. Very quickly, Greg, you start not to be looking backwards too much. You're looking forward.
All right, let's have a quick look at this IRT New Zealand Cup market as it currently stands. And $3.20 for the defending champion, Self Assured. The big mover, Michael, has been South Coast Arden, $6.50 into $3.90. Pembroke Playboy sits in the next line of betting around $6. Then you've got Amazing Dream and Copy That at $7. Out to Kango, 13. DiCaprio around the $17 mark. Any early play for you?
Well, Greg, we both know the answer to this. Everybody watching the box seat knows the answer to this. How the hell is Copy That $7? Started favourite in the Cup last year. It's, if not the best horse, second best horse in the country. And South Coast Arden's a wonderful horse. I'm not getting at him at all, but Copy That's beaten him fair and square a whole bunch of times. Copy That should be second favourite for the New Zealand Cup. He had a trial last week. Nothing went right in it, but he will race in the Spring Cup. We'll hear more from Ray Green soon. He's a race he should probably win, Greg. All of a sudden, Copy That could be $4 in 2 weeks' time. The only possible bet in the New Zealand Cup market right now, Greg, for people who like value, is the $7 Copy That.
Lamb and Haywood Canterbury Classic is the first race we want to have a look at from a massive night at Addington Raceway. 11 races there, $10,000 first fours and a $30,000 terminating pick six. Here he is, Self Assured, in the Brecon colours on this occasion at the trials, Michael. 320 home and 55.9. The good thing about him this time in is both trials he's stepped away nicely. He's come up with barrier 5, will come into 4. As I understand, Stylish Memphis won't be taking her place in the Canterbury Classic this week, Michael. But Self Assured's been nice at the trials and a nice build-up towards his race day resumption.
Obviously, he's the best horse in the race, Greg, and yes, he will win if he performs to his maximum and behaves himself. But I don't like barrier 4 for him. He's had very few starts in his career, stuck on a full front line, rammed in with a whole lot of horses. Also, these days, Ricky Donnelly's changing the starting procedures. He may have to walk up and stand there. I can't back him. I can't back him even though he's the best horse in the race, and I can't tip against him. So I'll be tipping or backing a Henry Hubert or something like that. Maybe a Classy Brigade, a place. I just can't be backing him, Greg. What are your thoughts? Because I know you've spoken to Mark Purden on Tuesday. What's the feeling of the man who resumes his superstar training career on Friday?
Yeah, look, he obviously loves the horse and he knows his ability is there to win this race. He did say he believes he'll improve quite a lot out of it. Also at the barn at the moment is South Coast Arden. So we'll have a look at his trial too. Now, he's gone on to the Unruly. It's a decision the Connections have made, Brent Mangos, the trainer, because if they choose to go on the Unruly, they can also choose to take him off the Unruly. If he's placed there by the stewards, I think he has to have at least 3 clear starts. Here he is, Michael. Nice trial, 321, home in 56, 627.9. Natalie Rasmussen in the bike, as will be the case for the Canterbury Classic on Friday night. Off the Unruly, a $5 chance, third favourite. Obviously, Self Assured, 260. Pembroke Playboy around the 350 mark, or he might be 250 actually, Self Assured. And then $5 South Coast Arden. At the start of that trial, Michael, he was up on his toes and prancing around. That has to be a concern because you cannot afford to be giving these horses a start, as AG's White Sox has already found out this time in.
And he's already given them a start. He's off the Unruly. I totally respect the idea of putting him on the Unruly because, as you said, it gives them more flexibility later in the campaign. But I can't back him off the Unruly. I mean, I love the horse. He might just come out and win the New Zealand Cup. He might have improved that much that he just turns into a big, bulkier Yule Star. That's what he might be. But I can't be backing him off the second line. In fact, I couldn't back any horse in the country off the second line, which is what the unruly is for this race, Greg. He's the absolute watch horse of the domestic crop. He's the one where he might actually have the potential to be a New Zealand Cup favourite. But he's going to need to prove that, and he hasn't proven that yet. So Friday night's the start of that journey for him. I think by Cup time, they'll be wanting him off that unruly, Greg, because he's very good, but he's not that good. He can afford to be giving Self-Assured and copy that. Let's start.
On Friday night, last Friday, had a chance to catch up with Hayden Cullen about both of those horses, Self-Assured first and then the overstayer, if you like, in South Coast Arden. Hayden, he'll be first up this week since the Rangiora Classic victory, but he's gone nicely at the trials.
He has, Greg, pretty pleased with the 2 trials he's had. He's trained on really well since then, but, I think whatever he does next Friday, he'll take a lot of improvement out of.
Have you and Mark settled on a pathway? I mean, obviously it was successful last year, so I can't see you changing too much.
No, that's right. Yeah, he went to the Canterbury Classic, then more than likely the Methven Cup, then Ashburn and Flying Stakes.
What about the type of horse that's going to present to Defender's title this year? Have you noticed anything different, or is he pretty much the same?
I think he's come back pretty good, Greg. He's come back a lot stronger than he was last season. Ability-wise, I don't think he's improved much. We've just got to get him back up to that level again.
You've got a overstayer hanging around the barn at the moment, South Coast Arden, for your great mate Brent Mangos, who's frustrated as heck not being able to get down here, but you took him to the trials for Brent on Wednesday and he trialled well.
He did try well, yeah. Nat was very happy with how he presented himself, and to credit to Mango, he turned up in great order, and he's another one. He's the same boat as Self-Assured. Whatever he does in the Canterbury Classic, he'll take a lot of improvement out of.
Spoke to Brent about his standing start manners, and he was a bit on toe in the trial. Are you hopeful we can get that ironed out, or is that just the makeup of this horse?
Yeah, look, I guess that's probably a bit of a chink in his armour, but Mango knows the horse inside and out, so as soon as he gets to level 2, I'm sure he'll be down here and it'll be Mango and Nat's problem.
So that's Hayden Cullen there talking about the Cup favourite, Self-Assured, and of course South Coast Arden. Let's now hear from John Dunn, who I also got the opportunity to catch up with on Friday night on their stable stars. Early season races are normally difficult for some horses, but not so yours. Classy Brigade, Henry Hubert, they're both flying.
They're going really good. I know we're not setting the timer really light, but they're doing the job and they're pulling up great after every run, which is the main thing, and you'll be able to step them up and go a bit quicker the next few and tighten them right up.
Johnny, I know with Classy Brigade, you were sort of umming and ahhing whether he'd get another year, or you guys would get another year out of racing-wise with him, but he deserves to have collected what he has so far.
Oh, definitely. He's fit and healthy and sound, and that's why we're carrying on this year. So, we'll take everything we can get. Like you say, we were going to pull pin after last year, but no, we're wrapped with sort of keep him going so far anyway.
What about Henry Hubert? He was luckless first up, and he franked that by being too strong in the Hannon in a very quick last half.
Yeah, wrapped the way he did that, but got to get the stand starts right, really. Timmy said afterwards, he sort of just panics. So if he learns to step, the first one we actually gave him, he stepped away really well. First run back of the season, so we need him to produce that again and to be a part of it. So early on in the races, but couldn't be happy the way he sort of find the line afterwards.
Barrier 1 for Classy Brigade in the Canterbury Classic, Barrier 3 for Henry Hubert. Mentioned before, Stylish Memphis has a foot abscess, so won't take her place in the Canterbury Classic. But I did catch up with Mark Jones about her performance, beaten by Darling Me, to find out where she's at, and also Plutonium Lady. Well, off the back of the Hannon, you're probably going to be pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, it was a pleasing run. They went better, but I probably thought Stylish Memphis probably should have won that.
Right, she worked her way to the front, and the horse that's picked you up and beaten you, Darling Me, she's no slouch, but surely she's still on the way up?
Yeah, definitely. Like Darling Me's a very good filly. Like we race with La Rosa, and we know how good she is. So she is still pretty fat, Stylish Memphis, and that's on purpose. She's got a long season, so I'd expect her to take a lot of improvement out of it. She'll need to step up, but I'm sure she will.
All right, what's the pathway? Do you go Canterbury Classic and then plan it from there?
Yeah, she'll go to the Canterbury Classic and next week against the big boys, and hopefully they run along a bit. And after that, we'll just play it by ear. We'll probably have to go Ashburton. We've got a couple of options there, and probably look at Kaikoura as well. She does need a bit of racing, so a bit of standing start practice as well. So we'll look to most of the options.
It's tough going for Plutonium Lady, and she's probably not going all that bad, but what's the thought around her pathway?
Yeah, she's going in foal this year, or hopefully she's getting served by Always Be Mickey, and yeah, she's done a great job. And if she doesn't get in foal, she'll carry on. But if she does, yeah, she'll be retired. But yeah, she's in a hard grade. She's got to race the good ones from bad draws, and she's a funny thing. When things go away, she's good, and when they don't, she's not as good. So we'll just play it by ear, and yeah, she may go to the Methven Cup or something.
So that was Mark Jones on his couple of ladies, Michael. That summarises what's been happening in the south. So foot abscess for her on the Water Walker. Hope to see her. Now that Methven meeting's going to be at Geraldine, so it's going to be on the grass still. How many of those cup contenders go there, I guess, is up in the air somewhat. But just on Darling Me, gee, she was outstanding, fresh up there.
Look, she was. She beat a genuine open class horse. In fact, she beat a Miracle Mile horse in the stylish Memphis. So she's obviously taken a while to grow into her full maturity, but what a great bonus for Canterbury harness racing, but particularly Addington, to have the Telfers down there, Steve and Amanda, and the new setup with Tim Williams. We'll hear from him later on. That's really added another dimension to racing down there. On the subject of Methven, really feel for our friends at Methven. Greg, it's a proud harness racing area. Don't like to see the race meeting leaving, but we know they will bounce back. Just on the Canterbury Classic, looking at that market again, Greg, listening to the boys and girls talking there, $8 and $2.40 Henry Hubert's outstanding money. Outstanding money for a last start horse who's fit, because most of the horses ahead of him in the market really aren't. So that's my bet each way in the Canterbury Classic on Friday. Not saying he's going to win the Cup, but this ain't the Cup, this is the Classic.
Yeah, $8 and $2.40 for him. We've just had a look at the south. So Michael got out to Alexandra Park for us on Friday night and got an update on some of the northern charges for the IRT New Zealand Cup, starting with Scott Phelan, who is a co-trainer, of course, of Bad to the Bone and Bella Montana.
Well, Scott, what's the update on Bella Montana and Bad to the Bone, who at this stage are both in the New Zealand Cup top 15?
Yeah, look, they're due to trial tomorrow. They've both come up really good. Bella Montana was just taking a bit of a longer, slow approach because she had so long off. But touch wood, she's been, pretty sound so far. So, her work's been great. So, look, we're really looking forward to getting back.
Bad to the Bone seemed to improve a lot between 3 and 4. Are you seeing more improvement coming into what's technically his 5-year-old season?
Yeah, look, you're right there. He did improve a lot, but the trip to Aussie probably made him. That good tough mile racing, it's really brought the horse on well. And as he come back for the Taylor Mile and that, he went great races in the Jewels. And look, we couldn't be happy with the way he's come back. He's probably improved a bit more.
What are you and Barry thinking about the northern races? It appears the Spring Cup will get off the ground. Is it a case of taking that and then seeing if the second race gets off the ground, or are you pretty sure you would like to stay home?
Yeah, no, look, we'd definitely like to stay home. We've got to support the club and the northern racing. So I've spoken to Karen, she's reasonably confident that the races will get off the ground. So, at this stage, we'll probably head to that and then probably look to Kaikoura after that.
I presume Bad to the Bone is being set for the Cup and or free-for-all. With Bella Montana, is it a case of her being away for so long, you bring her back and see how she handles it before that's a confirmed target?
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to have a goal, a target to set for. So at the moment she's targeted for it, but like she'll tell us if she's ready. It doesn't faze the Barry or Dean Shannon, the owner, whether she goes in it or not. It's just whatever's right for the horse.
In the 3-year-old ranks, or what's now the extended 2-year-old season, you had Major Perry and Montana DJ. Are they both going to head to Addington, or is Major Perry, as indicated by Barry, potentially heading to Australia if the owners are keen?
Montana DJ definitely going. Look, at this stage, they're both are heading to Addington, unless something comes up. But couldn't be happy with the way they've come through. They had a brief break, but they've come back great too. So they'll trial again tomorrow with the older horses, and they've got size stakes heat next month, 2 size stakes heats. So we'll make a decision from there, and after Barry's talked to the owners.
So that was Scott Phelan talking about their charges. He and Barry Purdens. Mick also caught up with Ray Green.
Well, Ray, what's the progress on Copy That?
He's in good shape. He's trialling tomorrow. I'm very happy with the way he's been training. So, he's on track.
I presume you're looking to start off here in the Spring Cup. Would you hang around the North Island for a second race if you got the chance, or do you need to be down there for the Flying Stakes at Ashburton?
If we intend to line up in this Flying Stakes, we'd have to just have the one race and head off down there, which we'll do, I imagine.
He had a successful campaign in Queensland. Did he have a long enough break, Ray? Are you happy with how long he did have out, or is he a horse who doesn't need a lot of time in the paddock?
He's happier being in work, actually. He's one of them, he sulks a bit if you put him in the paddock and leave him out there. Yeah, so, no, he's happy.
Sounds like there's going to be a change to the standing start procedures down in Christchurch. They like them now to come up and stand. I presume you're someone who's keen on the idea?
Well, they just never seem to get it right, do they? I don't know who puts forward these ideas, but it's a non-idea, isn't it? They've tried all that nonsense before.
So what would you like to see happen, Ray?
Well, in Europe they do it where they walk round at the start, and the starter counts down from 5, and he lets them go. If they're heading in the opposite direction, too bad. But the drivers are pretty sharp, and they make sure they're heading in the right direction. So that works really well.
Copy, that's obviously on the New Zealand Cup trail. I presume the free-for-all a couple of days later. Will it be a case of getting through Cup week and then deciding when and if you go to Australia?
Well, I don't think we'll indulge. If we go in the Cup, we won't go in the free-for-all. I mean, it's ridiculously close to the Cup. I mean, it's just a suicidal going in there, really. So we won't be doing that. But, we're looking at Australia. We haven't quite formulated a hard and fast plan, but we'll be heading to Australia after the Cup.
Michael, I like what Ray's doing with his hair at the moment.
I'll tell you what I do like about Ray, Gregory, apart from the fact that he's a good digger, is he's not scared to have an opinion. He doesn't like the perceived change in philosophies to the standing starts, and good on him for having an opinion about things. I think sometimes in racing we can all be a little bit bland because we're scared the stewards will get upset or harness race in New Zealand or the owners or whoever. Ray's his own man, does things his own way. Doesn't sound thrilled about standing start procedures, even though he was the worst victim of the walk-up start to the Cup last year when Copy that got left behind. And he doesn't like the idea of the free-for-all 3 days after the Cup. And Greg, that's what I want to do on the show this year. Yep. You run the show, and I think it's great that we can get people's opinions and not be scared of them and not sanitise them. And when you lived as long as Ray have and you've trained as many horses, we're happy to put your opinion out there, as long as you don't swear.
Yep. Totally. Just getting back to his hair, do you like it?
I do like it. I think there should be more crazy hairdos. But I think there should be more pouting and more waistcoats, though, Greg. So we'll try and work on that as we get closer to the Cup. Word of warning there, obviously. They're not looking to go to the free-for-all with Copy that, but I'm still absolutely staggered he's $7. Getting back to Belamontana, so they all went to the trials on Saturday at Pukekohe, and there was a big skirmish in the middle of the trial where Belamontana, in the middle, the 400-metre mark, Belamontana galloped. When a horse is coming back from an injury like she had, Greg, that's the last thing you want to see is a full-speed gallop. It actually took Copy that out of play, so we can ignore his performance there in a trial won by Cruzy Mark, who led. Bad to the bone was good. Spoke to Barry Purdon on Tuesday. He said, I worked Belamontana myself to make sure she's fine. No issues. She didn't hurt herself in that gallop. They are going to race in the Spring Cup next week. I think, Greg, there'll be somewhere between 6 and 9. Alexandra Park have told me they'll race for 6. Copy that sounds like it'll go south. They might change their mind. And I think the Holmes GG gets off the ground. Now, there was a lot of talk early season about whether we needed to put all the open class horses together. This clearly tells us we don't. And I think it's good pre-Cup to have at least 2 separate pools of horses, because when they do go to Kaikoura or they go to Ashburton, or more importantly to the Cup, Greg, I think it's more interesting.
Yep.
And the bottom line is, if all the North Island open class horses were down in the south, some horses have been missing out on starts, which is pointless. So I think it's good harness racing can talk about these things. And we can talk about it and look at the angles and look at how to improve it. But at the moment, seeing what I'm seeing now, I think having 2 separate pools of horses racing, therefore the trainers can stay where they want to, then getting together for the Cup, Greg, is the best possible version of open class racing in this country. That's my opinion.
Yep, no argument there. Let's leave the pacing section and put it to one side and move on to the trotters as we count down towards the Dominion, and the defending champion will be Sunday Sun. He's resumed in great style. He was good in the Basildine, but even better in this one, Michael. Off the back of this, we'll hear from John Dunn just about where he's at. He's beating Majestic Lavros here, Vacation Hill, and of course Midnight Dash, but here's John Dunn doing what Sunday Sun does best, that's winning. We'll get his thoughts post-race.
He's the king of the castle, and he's back in winning form. Sunday Sun wins his third ordeal. Second in Majestic Lavros. Photos third between Midnight Dash and Vacation Hill.
Well, you'd be wrapped the way he's going.
You're really happy. Rush prep, get him to the Basildine, he blew out bad, and then onto the ordeal three years in a row. So that was a great effort for him. Meant a lot to Colin and Nancy, which is great, and he's had a wee freshen up. He just goes to a handicap race, then the Canterbury Park, and then sort of tossing and turning where to go after that. But yeah, he's in the right frame of mind at the moment, and he's fit and healthy and sound, which is great.
All right, if we do go to Kaikoura, and you know, like we just put that run down last time, wasn't all his fault, and he did handle the bends well there, didn't he?
That's been a big part of his whole career, really. He flies around the bends, so that's why we sort of weren't scared last year to go to Kaikoura. Just turned the page on that one. We mishap one gallop in front at the wrong time, so we wouldn't be scared to go back again this year if we had to anyway.
Home in 55.9, 28.3, Michael. He hasn't lost any of his speed, and his stablemate, actually I asked John Dunn, did they put Sunday Sun in the float to Motukarara on Sunday, because Mataderos destroyed them in the DG Jones. Gee, they've got two powerful chances for the Dominion this year.
Yeah, they have, and they've really become a trotting powerhouse. You would say they've got the strongest open-class trotting team in the country. Sunday Sun's the benchmark. We know he is. Here is Mataderos, who's an unusual story, a horse who came from Australia, who loves grass tracks. Well, lucky he come over here because there's not many in Australia. I'm not sure he's going to win a Dominion, but the way he's improving, he's going to be a force in it. Talk about Sunday Sun. He's just too good for them, Greg. When he's trotting squarely, he's fit, and it's a staying contest. He's too good at this stage. But there's the chance that Bolt for Brilliance could step up because he's so good. And Muscle Mountain could step up. So they've beaten him before, so we know they can do it. Whether that was the best version of him last autumn, I'm not sure. Then you add a horse like Majestic Man who can beat Sunday Sun when he gets in front of him over the shorter trips. And there's enough in play to say Sunday Sun's just not going to picket fence this season. But there's not another horse, Greg, I'd want to be on in any race 2,600 metres or further if they're all fit and they're all behaving themselves. But when you put those four names together, Sunday Sun, Majestic Man, Bolt for Brilliance, Muscle Mountain, and then add in all those other really good horses like Mataderos and plenty of others, Greg, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's more genuine fun to be had almost in the trotting ranks than the pacing ranks. And in both ranks have that feeling of uncertainty about certain things. Self-assured standing start manners, Sunday Sun's ability to sometimes lose form. Those things are going to make it an awfully interesting spring and summer.
He's $1.60 off 30 metres this week. Midnight Dash $5.50. Majestic Man resuming also $5.50. And Chief of Staff, who was excellent in that as well. Just back to Mataderos' win in the DG Jones, went 3:38 and change. Only two horses have gone faster in that race. Vulcan, Dominion winner. Springbank Richard, Dominion winner in the long history of that race. Going across the Tasman, we are now with Garrards to have a look at Maori Law, who holds a nomination for the Dominion. Michael, this is a very nice horse trained by some people we know.
Yep, trained by one of the greats, Richard Brosnan, who, of course, trained Bonnie's Chance to win the New Zealand Cup in 82. No response to win the Inter Dominion in 1979 for the Trotters. Here he is at Group 1 level these days, training with his son, Emmett Brosnan. Really good fella, Emmett, really hard working. They made the move, not together, but separately, to Victoria. Now they're training together because the family's over there, and well done to them. They've got a good horse who's come from another stable, Anthony Butt doing the driving. I'm not sure they'll bring it across here, Greg. The horses he's beating over there aren't the same class as the top 4 or 5 over here. So great story, though. RJ Brosnan, one of the legends of the 70s, 80s and 90s, back in Group 1 winning form with Maori Law.
Yeah, and of course they went to Kilmore for the Cup there, 150 metres, and the Penny Drops took this out. Not a horse that I'd heard much about before, Michael, but an outstanding staying performance, sitting park throughout. That's Maori Law back on the inside, running in about 6th position.
Yeah, and again, indicative of the fact that you're not seeing horses who are going to be testing Sunday Sun and Bolt for Brilliance. That they have a very good trotter, obviously, in Victoria and Tornado Valley, who's quite old now, and he's been competitive with the Kiwis. But we also saw last time through that February-March period that Majestic Man was too good for most of these horses, and not even these horses, the horses who are better than these horses, Greg. So it's like rugby. We have 10 for 1. We have 10 good trotters to the year 1 lot. We have 10 good All Blacks to the year 1 Wallaby type situation. That depth hasn't changed a lot over the years. They've had their Scotch Notch, they've had their Wagon Apollo, their La Cucaracha. They've had these horses, obviously, way back in the old days at Murray's Idol. But they just don't consistently produce a lot of good trotters in the same crop in Australia. It doesn't happen very often. It's not happening at the moment.
Dominion market, $1.70 for Sunday Sun, as we have a look at that now for you. Bolt for Brilliance, $4.80, $5.50 about Muscle Mountain, and then Majestic Man is out to about $15, $17 for Midnight Dash. Want to have a look at the, they're 2-year-olds still because of the change of age, and Franco Indy last Friday night, Addington Raceway, by Always Be Mickey, getting to the middle of the track in the Alabar colours, fresh up, Mark Purden, first drive back, bang, ultra impressive. We'll get to Hayden Cullen, not only to hear about this guy, but other 2-year-olds in their barn.
Franco Indy panned out beautifully. Franco Indy by 3. Beats Casino Action, Jimmy James Maguire.
That's a great racetrack return by him.
Yeah, that's right, Greg. Yeah, he showed a bit to us last time in, and he's come back a bit stronger and a bit better, and mentally he's a lot stronger as well. So, I think he's a pretty nice horse going forward.
There's currently still 2, as we know, in the old there 3. What about some of your others, the ones that have trialled, like Wicklow Bay and Franco Mack? Are you pleased with them?
Yeah, Willow Bay's come back nice. He's probably come back a lot more mentally mature this time in too. He had one trial and he worked very good this week. Franco Mack, he trialled up nice last week as well. So, this week. But we've got a little bit of firepower there that, we'll hopefully having on November.
Yeah, Franco Mack will take his place in the last race on the Premier Night at Addington on Friday night. He's come up $2.20 in that Woodlands final. He was super, Michael, there.
Look, he was excellent, and Always Been Mickey's arrived in this part of the world now. He's having a super run up in North America, won the Metro Pace the other day. $2.20? Dear God, please stop. Just stop it. It's hurting my ears. I can't bear this, Greg. $2.20 for a horse who wins what's basically a maiden race. Jury out. Forget the whole thing. Stop it. Just please. Stop.
All right. We'll move on from that. Sire Stakes heats coming up Addington. I think there's one next Thursday being the 7th and the 15th. And then there's the one at Ashburton. There's a couple up north as well. We mentioned earlier the thoughts we need to get from Darren Williams around what IRT New Zealand Cup Day is going to look like. We'll get to that, then go to a break, and on that other side we'll catch up with the boss of Harness Racing New Zealand and Gary Woodham and get the latest from headquarters. Darren, 117 years of history is likely to go out the window for IRT New Zealand Cup Day 2021.
Yeah, Greg, at the moment it looks like it's not going to be what we've had before. Doesn't look like mass gatherings as we are at this stage are the thing. So, it looks like we'll be running something a wee bit different.
All right, ticket sales. There's been a couple of delays, including this week they were due to go on sale, so update us on that.
Yeah, so tickets were due to go on sale Monday, the 27th. Unfortunately, we've had to delay that again. We still haven't got absolute clarity around what all of this means for mass gatherings, and the ticket sales at this stage are on hold and likely to stay on hold until we get to level 1 or more information around what we can do with groups of larger groups.
Essentially though, IRT New Zealand Cup Day will be run provided it's below level 4.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So the only way it wouldn't be run is if we're at level 4, exactly right. So any other level, IRT New Zealand Cup Day will happen. All right,
alert level 2, talk me through what that would look like.
So at this stage we're looking at an industry day, pods of 100, groups of 100 as it stands at the moment with the information from the government. 8, 9, 10 pods of 100 people, that's about all that we would have on course. And that is because it comes with all of those restrictions, their own entranceway, their own staff, their own waiter staff, not coming into contact with any of the other pods. So like any other hospitality industry or people running events at the moment, it's making us pull our hair out, but it is what it is, and that's how we'd have to operate if we were in level 2.
Hospitality packages were flying. There wasn't a whole lot left anyway. Areas like Lindau Lawn, the traditional places that people go, all of those tickets are on hold at the moment.
Yep, absolutely. So every version of our tickets is on hold at the moment until we get to that level 1 or understanding what the mass gatherings could mean that could give us clarity around doing something a wee bit more. Level 2 means pods of 100. If we're at level 1, then we've got something different, and that drop dead date for us to know that is the 19th of October. So after the 19th of October, we're probably in a level 2 scenario.
All right, and that's based on the fact that a lot of the infrastructure, marquees, etc., you have to have a cut-off point, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I say, up to the 19th of October, we're operating at level 2. After that, unless we've got absolute clarity, it probably will be. It won't be a full-scale cup as we know it. If we were moved to level 1 after that date, then we have the ability to scale up a little bit. But again, that's dependent on what those scenarios are presented to us and how we can operate. There is a wee bit of ability, but that 19th of October date will be where we sort of draw a line in the sand and go, okay, it looks like we're going to have to operate like this.
Well, Gary, nice to have you back on the box seat. First show for us, and the COVID regime continues.
Yeah, not good, is it, mate? Could do without it at the moment. I guess before I go and answer any more questions, I'd like to thank everybody for what they're doing. Without, especially the trainers and drivers and those that are allowed to come to race meeting, doing what they've been told. Without it, we're gone. It's our social licence. We have orders and directions. We must obey the rules, and a credit to everybody, we're doing what we need to at the moment. But it's bloody hard out there.
It's been hard, in particular for one club I want to touch on, Methven. The awful storm on top of COVID precluded them from racing at their first season date and one of their biggest days, the Methven Cup as well. So that's been a challenge for them. And then we start thinking about race meetings like Kaikoura. So update me on those.
Yeah, so first of all, to the club at Methven, thank you very much. Brave decision to say no, but once you've seen the photos, and I don't have them with me clearly, but we need to get them up on the website, so I'll do that this week. But the grass track, it looks as if it's the Addington track that we're looking at near. Now, the whole grit from the inner is now on top. So you've got a grass track and about this much of grit. So they've scraped that. Farmers, they know what to do.
Yeah.
So they've scraped that and looking after it. We had to move that meeting, as you well know, to Ashburton. We've got another meeting coming up. They're not going to run there. And at this stage, it's Geraldine. So we've got a team from HRNZ at Geraldine right now looking at the track, and hopefully we can get that going. Second question you asked was Kaikoura. Hell, if I had a crystal ball, I'd give you that answer. It really needs to be at level 1 or level 2 with a lot more people for us to make those kind of meetings work. So we've talked to, the Kaikoura Club had their own AGM in the weekend. They were asked, what's plan B? And they're thinking of that at the moment. If we were where we were, Greg, I can't see how you can run it there, just me being, but I'll leave that for the club to work out. So plan B is, where else would you run it? And do you run 2 days as 1 day rather than over 2?
And do you run it on Sunday or Monday?
It's the whole thing. So a lot of thinking to be done, and we'll be doing that over this week. Clearly, we're not going to know the real date and where we all sit for COVID until a few weeks, and that's the problem. You've got school holidays in the middle, you've got a decision coming in, a week and a bit. Who knows where we're going to be? It's a bouncy ball.
How are we tracking financially?
Okay, if we have a look at a TAB number first, August was 18 million down on budgeted turnover, which is about 3.4 down on gross betting revenue. Out of that, we're around about 26%. So we're down about $800,000 at the moment for the first month. You wouldn't want to see that carrying on too much longer. We've got a real killer here in where we are from the numbers, because Auckland is a big region. TAB, 65% of the TAB's retail networks, outlets, are shut. And you have a large catchment area that bet on harness in Auckland. And you also got the gaming machines down. So everywhere we look, it's negative. But the TAB is doing a damn good job with all the other product they've got, sports and the like, to keep things going. So it's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's still not great, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. And if we can get more of our racing bouncing back now and more horses come into the races, we should be able to, with the right marketing and the right field placement and programming, claw that back a little bit. But wouldn't want to stay too much longer at that level.
What about an update around the feature race calendar and all the work that was done pre this latest outbreak? Okay,
Wednesday this week, I've got board members from Addington and board members from ATC having a chat with us, going over the finalisation of the group racing, where they'll be. We've had 2 rounds of consultation, and so I've stopped them because I told you last time that's where I think I needed to. Well, then after this week, we'll then take that input back in, look at the next one, and then I'll go to the 4 main areas, Southland, Canterbury, Cambridge and Auckland, have a chat to those clubs again, and then we'll put the last piece out for our clubs and other participants, trainers, to have a look at, and then we're going to put that to the Harness Racing New Zealand board and see where we sit.
All right, what about the annual conference and awards? You got an update on those?
Yeah, sure. In fact, it just come from the meeting that we had talk about. So the current dates are all postponed. So the first one is the annual general meeting will be now by Zoom, so online on the 16th of October. As far as the next 2 go, the conference provisional, we're looking at the 9th and 10th of December here in Christchurch, and the awards will be split away completely from the conference and will be late February next year. Now, we've done that for another reason too, Greg. As we change forward, we're going to the 1st of January, 31st of December for the season. It's going to be in February going forward, so we're going to do it that this year. We've just got to get it, all the dates and that sort of, a lot of work to do with Addington, because that's where we want to run it, and also getting accommodation around town.
The Blue September campaign's been incredibly well supported, and you've got a new campaign around wellbeing. So there's a couple of positive things happening there.
Yeah, look, there's a few things, and that, well, again, it's our sport doing it. Really tickle pink as far as it goes with the community getting behind. You know, it was a new concept, Blue September. I wasn't sure how it would go because we already have one that's pretty important to us. But honestly, people have gotten behind it. We might not have done the best from what I hear, you know, the colours. So we're looking at all that too for next time, but you learn as you go. So that's number one. I'm very, very happy with that. What was your second one?
The wellbeing
campaign. The wellbeing campaign,
yeah.
Of course. Look, that's well overdue. It's been in production for about a year. And so people will understand what it mean. We're talking about wellbeing of people.
Yep. People
that look after horses and associated with it, and making sure we're looking after those people in the right way. There's a lot of pressure on people out there. A lot of hours they have to work, and it's getting all that right. And it's social media comes into that. They work very hard at home and on the course, and then they get some social media. All of those things come into this. So that wellbeing campaign is going to start ASAP. In fact, on Friday I saw the last clips of it, so away we go with that.
Gary, exceptional racing last Friday night. The times were just really sensational. But what about this Friday? The road to the IRT New Zealand Cup hots up with the Canterbury Classic.
Indeed it does. So the big boys and girls are back, which is great. All roads lead to one day, and we're all looking at that one too, Greg. How does that going to look, and when will it happen the way we want to? But no, it's great. It started this Friday just gone, as you say. Great racing, great competition, and the numbers are back with the punting. So I think it's all heads up from here. I can't wait to actually be able to come along on course because I've got a horse racing this week, and as an owner, I'm allowed on course. So looking forward to it, and let's see how we go from here upwards. So bring it on.
So great to get that from Darren Williams with regard to Addington Raceway. So the 19th of October is a crucial date. What he did want to reiterate though is if things do change and they are allowed to have some more people come to IRT New Zealand Cup Day, then obviously things will continue to evolve. So keep an eye on the Addington Facebook page and their website too. All right, let's get to a new segment on the show. We've called it The Big Chat. We've started out with Harness Racing New Zealand, catching up with a man who just won the Addington Drivers Premiership for the season. Tim Williams is in remarkable form, so we had a good chat to him about not only winning that premiership, but also his new vocation. Tim, appropriate to catch up with you on a night where at this stage you've already driven 4 winners, where you won the Addington Premiership in season 2021. That must have been a big thrill.
Yeah, look, it was, Greg. Obviously something that probably snuck up on us sort of late in the piece, but you know, like you say, really big thrill, and you know, something I probably didn't dream of. So you know, to take that home that season, yeah, that was something really special for me. 60
wins, one ahead of your great mate John Dunn, who between him and his father, ironically, they provided you with a lot of those wins, and Blair Orange just won back too. So what a great battle.
Yeah, that's right, and obviously the last month, being out at the beach too, they give me plenty of jib for keeping in front of John. But you know, I was probably really lucky. You know, the start of the season with Mark and Natalie rolled out a big team through COVID, and you know, I got a lot of really nice drives right throughout the year, but that really got my season rolling early. So like you say, 60 wins at Addington, it was something that I was probably lucky, and you know, the whole way through I got to drive some really smart horses.
You mentioned Mark and Natalie, the All-Stars, Hayden Cullen. Tough decision for you to make to leave, a bit like Blair Orange I suppose at the time, and just on that, did you talk to someone like him when you did leave, or was it solely you and Amy's decision?
No, look, it probably happened pretty quick, Greg. Something me and Amy had discussed over you know, one night. It didn't just like say the way it come around, but you know, a phone call with Mark and then a phone call with Hayden, and you know, just discuss a few things and what Mark and Nat were doing going forward. So you know, it was just probably within my best interests, and you know, I'd had it extremely lucky for what I'd had there, and you know, the time had just come to an end. So you know, it was a mutual thing, and you know, I was always thankful for the opportunities they gave me while I was there. But in saying that too, it was just time to move on.
7 years at the Rolleston base, 15 or 16 Group 1s. The first of those, of course, with Have Faith in Me, and what a horse he was to you.
Yeah, he was something else, like you say. To be able to lucky enough to get a seat on him through that first season I was there was. You look back now, you pinch yourself what he did do. So yeah, he was a super horse, and you know, the Dunfords were awesome the whole way through. They, you know, great supporters, and always have been the whole time I was there. And you know, even Mark and Natalie for leaving me on. So yeah, he was really a great starting point for me there.
Recently, you racked up win number 600, and appropriately it was on a Stephen Amanda Telford runner in Kerry Maguire. Satisfying to get to that figure for a start, but even more so for your new bosses.
Yeah, both, Greg. Like you say, it was really nice, and obviously Stephen and Amanda now they're a big part of my driving career, and you know, they've backed me early days like right through now. So you know, I can't thank them enough, and like you say, lucky enough to wear their colours was a big thrill.
What about the new setup? I know the old place there of Jack Smolensky's, there's going to be a lot happen there in the next 12 months, but you guys have been based at Dancing on Moonlight, and David White's the head man there in terms of the South Island operation with Amanda at the moment. Gee, they've got some stock, and you've made a real impression early on.
Yeah, look, we're probably really lucky, like you say, that the facilities we're able to use at Dancing on Moonlight. I don't have to tell anyone about the setup there. So, you know, as Stephen and Amanda touched on earlier, they're just sort of putting the toe in the water at the moment to see what's going to work and what they send and what not. You know, we're a little bit limited for numbers. You know, sort of 12 to 15, I think, is going to be as many as we're going to have there for a while. But yeah, like you say, it's been a great start, and you know, they've got plenty of horses, which is a big help. 93
wins for the completed 12 months of last season. I guess the next goal for you is to get to 100. Is that something you're striving for?
Yeah, I think it is, Greg. It's something I sort of had a good look at a couple of seasons ago. I thought it'd be something that's it could be within reach, and something I'd like to tick off the bucket list. So you know, I've got good momentum the last couple of seasons now, so it's something I'll be really having a crack at.
Henry Hubert, he's your cup driver at this stage. He's gone great so far. If you can get his manners right at the start, is he a horse you think you could win the ultimate race in? You've been placed in it.
Yeah, look, on the day, his last 2 runs in the Cup have been good. He might be a little notch below the good ones, but as you know, on the day, someone's got to get a great run, and his record over 2 miles isn't the worst. So, he genuinely can get it right, and, each run this time in has got better and better. So, as he'll need to improve as the competition's going to start getting thicker again now. But like you say, just impressed with each time he is getting better, and really pleased with the way he felt at Oamaru. So as long as we can get the hands right at the start, he's a bona fide chance. Like you say, you've got to bet in to win it.
Tim, life seems pretty good at the moment. Fatherhood, that's all settled. Job's going well. Driving's going outstanding. I'm picking Tim Williams is in a pretty good space.
Yeah, that's right. Hit the nail on the head again there, Greg. I'm extremely lucky. Obviously at home, Amy keeps the kids and myself well under control and well fed and watered. And like you say, I might have just, once I got out of All Stars, just been able to relax a little bit more and take a little bit of pressure off myself. So like you say, it's something I had to take a look at and adjust to. And I think at the moment, I'm really happy with the way things are going.
Michael, Tim Williams, he's driving in career best form, and what about the move from him to the Stonewall team? Very much like Blair Orange when he left and went to the Tollerman Lodge Ken Barron team. It's a big change, but geez, taking it in his stride.
Yeah, look, when Blair did it, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, I thought he might struggle, but he didn't. He stood up and he had learnt those skills at the All-Stars. Tim is exactly the same. Tim's a father now. He's a maturing man. He's got good people behind him at Stonewall. He's going to be a factor for a long time. Greg, quite simply, when I go through fields, I look at the drivers and they're either negatives, neutrals or pluses, and Tim's a plus. Yep. Simple as that. He's alongside the John Dunns and the Blair Oranges and Tony Hurleys, and you add them as Zach Butcher, you add them as pluses. So therefore, if the horse is a 6 out of 10 winning chance, it becomes a 7 or an 8. And Tim's a plus driver, and I've got a funny feeling he will be for about a few decades.
Yep, I'm agreeing with you there. We also had a chance on Friday night to catch up with Crandell Getty around a couple of his stars. We talked to him about Krug and also Sugar Me. Cranny ended the season on a pretty high note. A successful campaign to Queensland.
Yes, it was. We did throw him in the deep end. We raced against the big boys, but the money was there and it was the carrot for us. So it was one of those opportunities. He's only 3 once, and we took the punt, and he came out. He paid for himself pretty good. So always looking for better.
All right, how long did he have off? And we know that he's honing in on the Breeders' Crown, which is run, of course, in November.
Yes, he had just under 6 weeks off, and like you say, our next target is we'd like to have a look at the Breeders' Crown. It's very hard to cement plans just at the moment, but that's what we've got on the radar. It might go upside down, back to front, but at this stage we're pointing that way.
How far off a trial then is he?
Approximately 2.5 weeks he'll be trialling.
So he heads to Victoria and will be stabled at the Nathan Purdon barn?
That's right, yes. Sure, I'd love to be there, but as circumstance we know I can't. So it's great. Nathan and I can talk the same language, and it's marvellous for me to sort of have him as a contact.
Already over there, Sugar Me, a horse that's done a fantastic job in a short time, and you're going to give him an opportunity in the Vic Derby.
Yes, that's another one. Talk about throwing horse in the deep end. This is something I have done. So here we are at the back end of the 3-year-old year, and it was a nice lure of 200k there. I'm sure you'll go in some medium odds as far as selections, but I think he's worth a punt. And speaking to Nathan today, he's pretty bouncy and pretty bright, and has recovered great from the trip.
All right, so he races at the weekend in the finals on the 9th, and just reiterating the Breeders' Crown for Krug. They kick off about the 7th of November with the final about the 20th.
That is correct, yes. They go heat semis in a week later on the 13th, and then all going well with the final on the 20th, yes.
All right, that's the update there from the Kentucky Arna Lodge team. Sticking with that theme, again with Harness Racing New Zealand, we'll have a young person profile each and every week on the box seat, and we're going to start out with Carter Getty, who got off to the absolute perfect start as a junior driver. Carter, this game's a lot about breeding, and given your credentials, I suppose harness racing was always on the radar.
Yeah, that's right. Mum and Dad, they both were right in it in their whole life, and both my granddads and grandmother, so all of my cousins, so here I am.
Was there ever going to be anything else? Were you always keen to get involved?
I was always keen, really, as a young age, because a young fella always loves horses, but I loved my sport and school was good. I stuck it right out, and I still enjoy other things now, but yeah, horses are sort of in your blood. You can't really get rid of it.
With another young fella hanging around the stables by the name of Dunn being Dexter, I guess he was a bit of an inspiration as well?
Yeah, huge. Like when I was sort of younger and getting right into it, he was just high flying, so he's always the idol and he still is, so he definitely did push it a lot, and even watching him now, you just realise how good he was and you just want to be like him.
You couldn't have got off to a better start. Well, you might have. You might have got there by a nose. It was a dead heat win driving a due flirt, but a huge thrill when you had the whole family there.
Yeah, it was really awesome down at Oamaru, which is where the Dalgetties are from. So that was really cool, but I wasn't expecting a lot. I just wanted to get around in one piece, but it worked out really good, and I was lucky to get the drive from John Hay, and the horse was good enough.
Driving for him, a man who's driven 1,000 winners, what sort of advice did he give you going into the first race?
He was actually awesome. He left it totally in my hands. He told me everything about the horse and said, "You're the driver, so you do your work."
What about going forward? What are some of the goals in the early part of your driving career that you're aiming for?
Well, the new junior concession that's coming in is going to be a really big help for junior drivers, but I'd just like to try and drive as many as dads I can and other ones that hopefully I can pick up. But it's just being out there and learning, because it's like a horse going to the trials. You only learn something when you're out there, so I'm definitely learning a lot, and I've got a long way to go.
All right, we may as well do a bit of marketing while we're here. Tell us about your clothing label.
I've got a clothing brand called Fuego Collection, and it's just a lot of clothing and masks, and you'll see around the place, but trying to get it as big as I can, and may even sponsor a few drivers in the future.
What about, how do we find out about it? We go to a web page, I'm sure?
Yeah, I've got a website, fuegocollection.org. That's me, so you'll see everything I've done there and all of my work.
Your dad's obviously a very successful trainer. I know you've just started your driving career, but is it a lifelong ambition to stay in the game?
Yeah, I really do like the horses just as an animal, really, so the training is sort of a thing that I would love to do, but being around them, living on a farm with the horses, you sort of learn to get to know them as more than just a horse. So yeah, I will really want to be a trainer in the future.
Fella going places, doing a Bachelor of Commerce at Lincoln, studying supply chain management. That's what he's majoring in. He's an impressive young man, Carter Dalgetty.
He is. Smart kid. He's played a bit of footy, so he knows what it's like to work inside a team, and therefore also knows about momentum and the hard work that needs to go into being successful. And he's very savvy around older adults, so he's going to have a good career in the sulky, far better than his dad. Crab was a very average driver, and very upset to hear that Cran thinks Nathan Purden speaks the same language. I don't know anybody who speaks the same language as Cran.
Yeah, either do I. It's certainly Cran speak, as we know. Just back to Harness Racing New Zealand discussion ahead with Gary around Blue September. Michael, the box seat have been sponsoring a driver. They call him the Wizard up north, but yeah, $100 every time he drives a winner. Through September thus far, leading into the Cambridge meeting on Thursday night, one winner. Slightly embarrassing.
I tell you what we could do. We could also add New Zealand Cup wins, because Todd's won 4 of them in his life, which must seem like another lifetime ago, and then we have $500. So how about we'll top it up to wins plus New Zealand Cup wins capped at $500, so Todd doesn't feel so bad.
Yep, happy to do that. Speaking of the Cambridge meeting and, of course, Addington Raceway on Friday night, really looking forward to getting involved in both of those. We'll have a look at Addington first. A horse called Allegra, I want to highlight from the Robert and John Dunn team. This is her in front. She's been a big mover in the Sire Stakes, Michael. About $60 into 11. Got home nicely here, 57.27. Really nice mover, beating Cover Girl. Both of them go to Addington Raceway on Friday night.
Yeah, aren't they all coming out of the woodwork now? All these 2-3-year-olds, no matter what you want to call them, type things. They were 2-year-olds last season. They sort of still are. It's exciting, Greg, to see them all out. But we had Robert Dunn, or John Dunn, it was actually, sorry, on one of our radio shows recently, and he said, "This is the horse to follow. This is my horse to follow from the stable." So you heard it from him. Still, Cover Girl's not going to be easy to beat this week either.
No, she gets the advantage, Allegra, of having a front row draw out of the wonderful race filly and mare in Safedra. Now let's go to Cambridge on Thursday night. Major Jealous, the one we're looking at here, finishing second behind Kango. This is quite a good form line, Michael.
Mate, he's flying, Major Jealous. He was always looked like he was going to make a nice horse, and as good as this was a trail job, and he ran second to Kango. What was more impressive was the start before he came from behind Rough and Ready and beat it fair and square, and that's his crucial enemy this week, his arch rival, and the race is on Thursday night. Barry Purden told me if Major Jealous goes good this week, we're going to the Spring Cup. That's a tip you need. Tricky draw, but Major Jealous on his run 2 starts ago would outpoint Rough and Ready if they produce similar performances.
All right, while we're focusing in on the clubs, one of our great supporters has been Ashburton. They've got a tender for What the Hill, and a big thank you to Woodlands for providing them with that. Tenders close for the service there on the 5th of October. Ashburton Raceway, you just go to their webpage and send them an email, and they'll put you in the draw for that. So if you want a service to What the Hill, then that is the way to do that. Office at ashburtonraceway.co.nz is where you need to go there. Michael, Rakiro Racing have replaced Door Contracting, same joint. Ronnie Dorr still the man getting behind the show. Best bets for us. I'm going race 1, number 1, Sod's Law, beautifully placed on the Premier Night at Addington Raceway. What about for you?
BD Yasathon's a horse I've always really liked. And when it came back and took on Major Lavros recently at Alma, it went super, Greg. I think it's an open class horse and it's really well rated. It's one of the highest rated horses off the front in its race at Addington this week. I don't entirely trust it, but I like it. So BD Yasathon for me, major jealous if you're looking to have a bet at Cambridge.
All right, we also are looking, hopefully, to get to Kaikoura for their 2 big days, and the club have allowed us to run a competition for the weeks leading in. It's with Alabar. If you want to enter the competition, each and every week we'll have a question for you. You send it through to theboxseatnz@gmail.com. We'll draw one person out each week, and at the end draw the lucky winner. This week's question is, who won last year's Alabar Kaikoura Cup? Back-to-back wins it was, just to give you a bit of a clue, or go to HRNZ, look up the major races and you'll find it there, and just send us the answer to that email and you'll go in the draw for the 4 people to go to Kaikoura, and we should have an update in about 3 weeks' time, making sure that we can in fact go there, depending on what alert level we are sitting at. Michael, really good race meetings coming up. We've actually got Gore, 7 races starting about 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, into Cambridge on Thursday night. They've got 8 races there, 5:36. Addington with 11 starting just about 5 o'clock, and Timaru race on Sunday at 12:35. So something for everyone.
It's going to be a lot of fun, Greg. Great to be back on the box set. Also, Greg, had a little bit of an argument this week with one of our leading junior drivers. Ben Hope was telling me he is a South supporter for the big NRL final on Sunday. I am a Penrith supporter. So Ben and I have had a side bet, and you'll love this, Greg. The loser has to read out a statement about the other one's tipping ability on the box seat for 15 seconds of the other one's writing. What that could possibly mean for the box seat next week or the week after, I'm not sure. But God bless the Penrith Panthers on Sunday night against Ben Hopeless's South City Ripper.
Look forward to that game for sure. And thanks so much for Michael's input into the first show of the box seat. Big thank you to our stable of sponsors once again. We'll see you in 7 days' time.